one of the benefits of being in a house versus being in a van is that I can actually kind of plan ahead what I'm going to eat and what I'm going to store. So I've been working all week now as a minion at the, Absolutely Natural, helping them with basically bottling items, you know, getting things packaged ready for shipment, lotions, diaper rash lotions, skincare products, all sorts of things. But we only get like 30 minutes for lunch, which isn't really enough time to run out anywhere, and honestly I wouldn't run anywhere to buy any food anyways because it's expensive, although I could actually run back home and cook up something to eat. But with only 30 minutes, it's not enough time. So I've been doing like lunch, making lunch for myself. And because I have access to Walter's house, I now try to cook dinner and have some leftover food to actually take for lunch the next day, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to be making some simple spaghetti with Italian sausages. These are hot Italian sausages that I got from Aldi the other day. I ate 2 by themselves the other day just for dinner with rice. And now we're just going to cook up 3 of these, slice them up, and use them in our spaghetti sauce. And that'll give me food for tonight for dinner and leftovers for lunch tomorrow. Alright, I've got the sausages pretty much brown now. Well, burnt actually. Seems like I'm always burning food, right? And figure I better heat up some water, which is what I'm doing right now. So what I'm going to do is just set the sausages aside and let them finish cooking up. That looks good. Hot Italian sausages that will be used in my spaghetti sauce. I'm not making anything too fancy. Really simple. But we'll brown our meat. See the stove here is burning off oil and stuff that's still on there. But let me go ahead and put the water on this larger cooking element. Now that this water is starting to boil, see it's starting to boil here, we're going to add some of this great value cheap spaghetti. I think it's like $1 for this whole packet. So how much will I put in there? I think I'm going to cook up the whole batch. It's 1 pound, 16 ounces. Why is this camera having a hard time focusing here? Alright, so it's this great value 16 ounce, 1 pound of spaghetti, which we'll be adding to the hot water here. My apologies that the camera seems to be having a hard time focusing. Alright, I've added the spaghetti. And how long am I supposed to boil this? Well, thanks to the insight of one of our astute viewers, told me, I think it was a she, I think she told me that there are these things called directions on most food items. So, if you look at the directions, it may help you out and tell you how much to use, when to add it, how long to cook it. So, according to these directions, it says that I'm supposed to boil 4 quarts of water, which I didn't really measure. Then add the spaghetti and return it to boil. Let it boil for about 10 to 12 minutes. So, it's 4:50 on the clock here. So, by the time it says 5 o'clock, we should be done with boiling. Pretty much. Look at that spaghetti boil. Do you hear the boiling sound? Alright, it's only been 4 minutes. You know, I'm impatient. I feel like just continuing the cooking without waiting, but per the directions, we're gonna wait another 6 minutes. Meanwhile, the meat is just sitting here waiting to be put into the sauce. Maybe I'll go ahead and get the sauce out and prepare the sauce. By the way, the directions say to stir occasionally, so I have been stirring. In case those of you who are watching want to tell me I should probably stir. Okay, it's been about 9 minutes. And you know what? I think it's done at this point. And rather than drain it right now, I'm going to try something a little different. Here we have 3 frozen tomatoes, which I'm simply, you can see they were so frozen they were stuck to each other. I'm gonna simply just toss it in there. Yeah. Last time we made that tomato surprise, it was really good. So, oh, look how it cooled down everything really fast. Let's just mix all that up. Alright. That should allow the tomato to cook pretty fast. Now I think I'm going to add some frozen veggies. So let's see what we got. Lucky me, it looks like I've got some of this Dollar Tree pepper stir fry left. A little bit left. So it's got peppers and onions. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in there. You might be wondering why I'm adding all this stuff while there's still water in there boiling. Because I want everything to kind of thaw out. Using the hot water to thaw things out. You know what, I'll just add the whole bag. It wasn't really the whole bag, it's like about 80% full. But we're going to go ahead and add that. And then we're going to go ahead and mix that up. To give the sauce a little bit of body, I guess you could call it that, and some texture here. Doesn't it look already different? Certainly looks different to me. So what we're going to do at this point is train it and add the meat and the actual spaghetti sauce. All that I have handy is this Hunt's pasta sauce, meat flavored. It's what's this? What's the size on here? It's only 8 ounces, and I don't think that's enough spaghetti sauce. So I drained most of the water out of here, but I left a little bit of water on the bottom, so it'll mix in with the Hunt's spaghetti sauce to give me a little bit more liquid. Alright, before adding the sauce, let me turn the heat back on and turn the heat off there for a moment. We're going to go ahead and put in our sausages. And then I'll just pour the sauce on that and mix everything up. Here you can see everything is cooking up really nicely with the sausages poured on top. And believe it or not, this Hunt's spaghetti sauce, 24 ounces. It's 24 ounces. Not 6 ounces, it's 24. It's like $1 from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to pour it in there and stir everything up and mix it all up. And just heat everything to get it nice and warm. And it should pretty much be ready to serve. Let me turn the heat down a little bit. I don't want it burning the stuff on the bottom. But we're just going to simply mix things up. Doesn't that look good? Maybe not. Not yet. I don't know about you guys. To me, it looks good. It's got spaghetti. It's got sausages. It's got red peppers, yellow peppers, green peppers, and onions. And it's got tomatoes there that are still kind of frozen. I can still feel they're like frozen snowballs in there. Those tomatoes are still frozen. So I'm going to let it kind of stay on the bottom there with the tomatoes and let it heat up and kind of melt the tomatoes. Just bring out some more flavor. And meanwhile, I'll just stir everything up there, make sure everything's all nice and coated. But this is looking pretty good to me. I'm kind of salivating just looking at this food, thinking how tasty this is going to be. So, yeah, not bad looking, right? Well, maybe some of you can cook better than me, so maybe this doesn't look good to you, but to me this looks really good. It's better than just plain old, you know, those frozen spaghettis that come in the cans. So having access to a house where I can actually sort of cook, even though as a lot of you are finding out, I'm not really a very good cook, but I do try to cook food to eat when I can, and that's one of the reasons for wanting to build the Chuck station, you know, when I take my road trip there for my honeymoon. So I want to make sure that I can cook food along the route to save money as well as eat the kind of foods I want to eat. So what I'm going to do right now is just leave this on warm and just let it kind of bake the tomatoes. When the tomatoes are fully melted, you know, then I know the meal's done. Oh, and some of you were wondering about seasoning and stuff. I normally don't use much seasoning. I figure they already added enough salt and other seasoning in the ingredients here for the sauce. And I get a lot of salt throughout the day from other things that I eat. Here they have tomato puree, water, tomato paste, water, less than 2% of beef, high fructose corn syrup. They add corn syrup to this thing. Salt, more corn syrup, soybean oil, carrot fiber, sugar, and dried onion. So they added all that stuff already in here. Now, I don't have any oregano, which I heard is really good to add to spaghetti sauce. But all I have is parsley flakes. So what we're going to do is add some parsley. Or maybe I'll just pour it on, you know, to serve. I think I'll do that for serving. I use the parsley flake at the final stage for serving. Or maybe I'll go ahead and pour it. I'll pour some on here and then stir it up. That way it can cook up. I think it'll taste better when it's cooked up. So here you can see I've sprinkled in a lot of the parsley flakes. And I've got the heat on medium right now, but I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And just let things kind of simmer for about maybe 10-15 minutes. So we'll just turn it on warm right there and let it simmer, because what I want is the tomato surprise in there to fully melt. And that should pretty much be my dinner for tonight. To give myself a little bit more authenticity, I guess, instead of eating the spaghetti by itself or spaghetti with rice or something, I'm going to try to make some buttered bread, maybe garlic bread if I have some garlic seasoning, garlic salt or something. If not, we're just going to go with some butter. This is actually frozen French bread. I freeze the bread to make it last forever because I don't normally eat bread that often. So I'm going to cut up a slice and then split it and then put some butter on it and bake it in the oven. You can see I took the bread and I basically cut it into a little, about 4-inch section here, 4 or 5 inch, and then I just split it down the center using my Hessler knife. It's a steak knife, but I use it, I like the size, so I use it a lot for cutting little things like that. And I've got some Blue Bonnet pseudo butter. It's not really butter, I think. This stuff is actually vegetable oil. Probably bad for you, but I'm going to go ahead and spread it on the top here, and we're going to put sprinkle some flavoring, and see if we can't make some, I guess, baked bread to eat with our spaghetti meal here. So I've coated the bread here now with some butter. I used about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch of the stick of butter. It's not even real butter, it's vegetable oil spread. And I've coated the bread. Now, I was looking around and I don't have any garlic salt or anything like that, or garlic powder. So I did find some trusty Badia Complete. So the plan will be to just sprinkle a little bit on here, because this stuff is really strong. I've over sprinkled before, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit, just to give it some flavor here, not too much, but a little bit here. And then what we're going to do is bake it. Doesn't that look pretty good? So we're going to bake it now in the oven, and then we'll have some toasted bread to eat with our spaghetti. As you can see, the oven is heated up now. It's at 265. I set it for like 350, 360. All I'm going to do is just take the bread, and I laid some aluminum foil down there, and I'm just going to lay the bread there and let it bake. Just letting it bake until the butter melts and the bread turns a little bit brown. Meanwhile, I'll stir up the spaghetti here, which is looking really, really good. Let's take a look now and see how things are looking with our spaghetti. You can see our tomato surprise is melted. So I'm pretty sure it's fully cooked now at this point. And that looks so good. Oh my goodness. Here's another piece of the tomato surprise. Once again, it's melting. And we're just kind of spreading it throughout the spaghetti sauce. So you're eating it, you get chunks of tomato. And that looks so good. Oh my goodness. It's only been a few minutes for the bread, so it's going to take a while for the bread to cook. But what I may do is, you see the bread is still cooking. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the spaghetti ready to serve, because I am starving. I'm going to go ahead and serve the spaghetti, and then we'll have the bread later. Alright, YouTube wins out. I decided instead of just serving it without the bread, even though the bread could actually brown a few more minutes, I went ahead and put it on here for the serving so you guys can see what it looks like. But this is my little Quicko spaghetti with hot sausage meal that I whipped up for tonight's dinner. And I've got a whole bunch left over, so I've got lunch and probably dinner for tomorrow as well. And that's a good thing. So I may end up freezing. I'm probably going to freeze a lot of this and use it as like lunch for various days. I can probably make about 3 or 4 different lunches in here, or even more, and dinners. So freezing the food, having access to the refrigerator is a big benefit to being in a sticks and bricks building versus being in a van, and I'm taking advantage of it right now to stretch that food budget. You can see we've used a lot of the ingredients we purchased from the, remember our food haul that we spent like, what was it, $97? I was hoping it would last about 3 weeks. It's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and we still got a lot of it left. I have used the spaghetti, I used the sausages, those are all been used up. Some of the frozen vegetables from Dollar Tree, and the spread was just some leftover bread that I had. So we got the other piece still baking in here, which I'll be taking out to munch on later tonight. But overall, I think pretty good food. Now, what I like to do when I serve this stuff, I actually like to put on several things before I actually serve it. I will usually use this Kraft Parmesan grated cheese. I know some of you have real cheese graters and grate your own, which is actually pretty great, but because I'm simple and I usually buy it already pre-grated, this is what I use. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of that on here. I think it just makes it look so much prettier. And of course, you know, I can't have food without peppers, so let me find the crushed peppers here. Red crushed peppers. And I'll sprinkle this on here. This is from, I don't know if it's from Walmart or Dollar Tree. Probably Dollar Tree. Walmart charges more. Dollar Tree is like $1. So, you know, I love this stuff. And we just sprinkle that on here. And look how pretty this meal looks already. So let's do our taste test here to see what we've got. And that looks so good. I'm salivating. Here we go. Oh, it really does hit the spot. This food is really good and pretty cheap, actually. The peppers really bring out the flavors, I think. So until next time, everybody, I hope you're staying safe, eating well, and not afraid to experiment. Until next time, take care, everyone.